Welcome back to The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Callistra Farrier. On this segment, I'm happy to speak with Dr. MICHAELE Samuel, who proudly carried Grenada's flag to the podium at the 2025 Embassy Chef Challenge in Washington, D.C., clinching third place in the People's Choice Awards with a vibrant Calypso mango shrimp salad. And that certainly delighted taste buds and stirred island pride for sure. And the Embassy Chef Challenge, it's not just a food event, it's one of Washington's premier showcases of culinary diplomacy, hosted annually as part of Events DC's International City Food Festival. And it is held at the Andrew W. Mellon Auditorium. And it's a global event. More than 30 embassies participated this year, preparing signature dishes representing their country's heritage, ingredients, and culinary artistry. Dr. Samuel joins us now to talk about her Calypso mango shrimp and the whole experience of being part of the Embassy Chef culinary competition. Welcome to the program, Dr. Samuel.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm truly excited to be here.
Well, I hear calypso mango shrimp, and like everything else that you post on social media, my taste buds start going, and you do me a great injustice because you're all the way in Canada, and I never have an opportunity to taste any of the food. I envy Chase and and the rest of your family. um, but tell me, let's start with you as a culinary artist. How did you get into all of this?
Mhm. I thanks for the question. I think I was born into it. My mom, my mother, late mother Doris, she was an excellent cook. So I was accustomed to delicious home cooked meals every day. In addition to that, I took home economics classes at St. David's Irish School. I think that laid the foundation for my interest in the culinary arts. When I went to Teachers College, I took food and nutrition as an elective with Miss Francis. So that's further deepened my interest. So I think these events, these activities set the groundwork for my interest.
As you were preparing, what inspires you as you prepare your creations? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I get my inspiration from flavors and spices that I grew up with, that I'm accustomed to. So for this event, I wanted to create something that was accessible, meaning flavors that are somewhat familiar or well balanced, not too polarizing or quiet. And I wanted recipes that would be well received by a diverse group. And I thought mango, people tend to like mango, and it has a similar flavor to other American fruits. And shrimp, it's widely accessible, and we separated the shrimp from the mango just in case people had allergies. They can still indulge in the mango and omit the shrimp. So we wanted fresh ingredients, we wanted bold flavors, and we wanted something that would be somewhat easy to prepare based on the resources we had.
It certainly went over well because you were in the running. Um, how what were some of the reactions that were you able to observe the reactions of the people as they were tasting your creation?
They loved it, and that really energized me when they would make the comment. In fact, when the judges, we five judges visited our station because they had to judge the food, and they talked about the flavor, the simplicity of the ingredients, and how balanced they were, and how the shrimp were cooked perfectly. That was really meaningful to us. The feedback was great, and people were coming back for seconds and thirds. We did not run out, but we were thankful.
No, let's try to go a little bit deeper just on the because I noticed that a lot of your preparations that you display on social media always has a feel of home. It's always a twist or a take, a special take on Grenadian culinary flavors, the colors, the spices, and so on. how did this dish, because it was a each embassy, each country was, it was a representation that was happening there in all of in this competition. How did the dish embody Grenadian culture as well as its flavors?
Well, we know mango is a big deal, right? And it's mango season, and I'm missing it, so that really helped me stage this dish. But the flavors, the mango was the star ingredient. But in addition to that, we had to demonstrate an understanding of the guest who will be there, right? And they love food, but we wanted to make something that's accessible and something that's really beautifully photographed because people were coming there and taking pictures to post on their Instagram. So understanding the makeup of the guest and what photographs well, what showcases well, and what is easily explained so it's accessible to the guest. So all these things drove what we presented, and of course we can't ignore that rum punch, the Grenadian Gold rum punch with the number one Clarkswood rum. That was a major hit, and people just loved it. They were asking for shots of the rum,
Shots of the Clark squad.
of the Clarkswood rum. Yes.
Okay, it's some brave people there. Now, we talk a lot about the tourism product, and I saw somewhere that Grenada was named the food capital um, of the world, of the Caribbean. I can't remember which one, but we're supposed to be a big deal when it comes to food. What does the award mean for Grenada's cuisine as a tourism product?
You know, this award is a powerful reminder that Grenada is not only a feast for the eyes, but also a feast for the palate. Placing third among so many countries elevates Grenada's cuisine on the global stage. It says to the world, come taste our story. This recognition affirms that our food is not just good, it is world class.
But even as you say that, you go to hotels, a little bit less now. But one of the things that we've always had an issue with is how we do not serve enough authentic, uh, culturally relatable dishes at the hotels where we entertain our visitors and feed them, that we do not put enough of Grenada into the dishes that are created. Do you get that? And is there any suggestion on how we make what we have beautiful and presentable and in demand?
Okay, so I've had some delicious things at hotels in Grenada, but I agree with you that we are not using some of the ingredients we have to elevate our dishes at the restaurants or offerings. I must note that I had a fried callaloo at a restaurant back home in Grenada, and it is one of the top 10 best things I've eaten. So I need to highlight that. But what informs my culinary artistry in part is using flavors and ingredients that I grew up with in Grenada in somewhat innovative ways. For example, the way I use the mango, I've never experienced it like that growing up, but I knew that flavor would translate very well in that particular dish with those particular herbs. So what I do is look at what I grew up with, what's accessible, and make it tweak certain things, or sometimes mimic something else to make it innovative. I look at yucca. We grow a lot of yucca home, right? But I've never had mashed cheesy yucca as a dish home. And this is mashed cheesy yucca tastes much better than mashed potatoes. But we don't think about these things. I went to a restaurant and they had a sugarcane stirrer to stir your cocktail. And there is sugarcane everywhere at home, but nobody thinks about that. I had candied sorrel. I purchased some recently as a treat, as a snack. And we only have sorrel at Christmas time or, as a beverage. So thinking about how we use our ingredients, we should put some effort into exploring what the possibilities can be.
Because I mean, there's so much. But I don't want to Google it. I'm just going to ask you right here on camera for everybody else to hear. What's yuca?
Cassava, manioc. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
don't
that's what
say
that
that,
is.
girl.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you know what? You know what I had from Chef Belinda, which was magnificent? uh, Sweet potato, mashed sweet potatoes. She used
Oh,
the sweet
it's
potatoes to do the mash. She'd invited me and my children to her chef's table. And she said to me that her biggest challenge, her biggest headache was that children were coming to her table. How does she tailor what she's making to suit those their taste buds? You know, it's kids. What are they going to like? You know, you think kids and you think fish fingers and that kind of thing. But so she decided she would do mashed potatoes with the sweet potatoes because I'm not sure how much you know about Chef Belinda, but she her focus a lot is on what we have here. She's garden to table is what she does, and that was I never knew that sweet potato could taste like that. It was really
I
really good.
I can affirm this. It is absolutely delicious. In fact, it's I have a recipe for mashed sweet potato in one of my cookbooks. That's how good it is. But I haven't had it in Grenada yet. But there are tons of ingredients we can elevate and serve at our local restaurants. And it not only um, helps or exposes our guests to delicious food, but there is a lot of economic value for the farmers who are growing these produce. So there is an added incentive to use those products.
Mhm. And also the health value is just
Mhm.
even
We can't ignore
another.
that one.
Yeah, very powerful reason for even just us. Because I think, growing up, the way we handled food, we would, just chop up the yam and chop up the sweet potato and sort of steam the sweet potato to go with some fish and everything sort of, it tastes good, but kind of boring. And so they making exciting dishes that photograph well, that taste well, that look like it can be Michelin star level food. We have not really gone there yet, I believe, with our food,
Mhm.
but it
I
has that
agree.
potential.
I agree. And making when you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu, the first thing you look at the pictures. And that in part drives whether or not you order the dish. Oh my gosh, this looks good. It looks good. And we order it. We order based on visuals. And I think sometimes we don't put a lot of effort into making it attractive and appealing.
And but it I mean I would think that for the the Grenada Tourism Authority maybe can put some more emphasis on pushing that because it's such a valuable part of the product the wonderful product that we have. And speaking of as a country, like you've gotten third place in such a prestigious culinary competition, the Embassy Award goes twice.
Grenada has.
Grenada has, we have red, green, and gold. How do we leverage success like that? We have not just the Embassy Award that we now have, but we've got Chelsea with our flowers. We've got Clark Scott with our beverage or alcohol. They've been winning. We have our honey that's been winning. So we have a lot of award-winning products and creations coming out of Grenada. Our water with Montpure winning at Berkeley Springs. Um, how do we leverage those successes as a country? How can we?
We have to tell the story of these products and these business people who have putting a lot of work into developing a top-notch product and tell the story. And we have to separate the personal things from that. This is our story, and we need to celebrate these people for the owners of these businesses, the water, the honey. We need to celebrate them for their innovation. for all the work they're putting into this, and use these things, of course, with their permission, as a marketing mechanism.
And as you're speaking, the thought occurred to me that maybe we can find a way that you can partner with the Board of Tourism to make the Calypso mango shrimp um, a dish that the hotels take on.
I am open to possibilities. I am.
You'd share your recipe.
Of
And what
course,
did
of course. It's now Grenada's recipe, and I'll be happy to share it. I'll be happy to train others on how to prepare it in the way that we want. And we should really explore all these things, even the rum punch. And I've made this
mm,
rum punch before for the embassy, and it 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 is a good product, and it has a very star ingredient in it. I can't talk about um, the punch that Clark's coat gives to that punch enough, and everybody knows that.
mm.
So how do we leverage this? How do we partner with the Grenada Distillery? And we know they have their own brand, right? Of rum punch, but there are other ways to elevate that product. And I'm not promoting the consumption of alcohol in in any way, shape, or form, but people do indulge, and we have to. How do we engage them to indulge, to sip responsibly,
Yeah,
but also
in moderation. Anything
to
overindulging in
market
anything
that,
causes chaos. Yes.
also to market that product.
Mm. And so, but you have a special ingredient that you put in your base alcohol is the Clark Scott, but you've got your special um, secret sauces that you put into your signature rum punch that you make.
I absolutely do, and it goes back to the kinds of spices we use, clearly Grenadian spices, and the amount, and that's what really makes the punch, with a few other things, but that's the core element of the rum punch. The rum, the spices, and the other special juices.
Well, I won't ask you about the other special juices on there. I have a feeling we won't hear about it.
I I, I,
Um,
I I appreciate the restraint.
um, but is the rum because the rum punch is a product that you were creating even before the embassy the embassy event the event
Yes.
competition. So it is you have proprietary something on that. But let's talk about the calypso mango shrimp because you said it's Grenada's recipe. So I'm assuming we can talk about um, the, the, the drill down into what exactly the recipe is.
Hmm.
We can?
So we sure can. We can talk about it in general terms, right? So the mango has to be a specific degree of firmness, right? It's not your soft mango that you would normally just eat. And what else is in it? We have cilantro, which is a very, very robust herb, but we have to be very measured in how we use it so it's not overpowering.
Mm.
And then we have the very thinly shaved red onion, which has a very brilliant taste. But when you combine the mango and the cilantro with together, and we toss that in real passion fruit juice, now that took it up 10 notches. And
Mm.
in that recipe, you can taste each individual flavor, but at the same time, the flavors marry so brilliantly that it's irresistible. And then you have that perfectly delicately seasoned shrimp, perfectly cooked, not overcooked. And when you have the savory shrimp with the sweet mango, I tell you, it's the explosion of flavor in your mouth. It was really, really a strong,
Hearing about it, I
accessible
can.
dish.
Mm.
I hope you can taste it just by the way I am describing it.
You know, you had me at passion fruit. Flavors were exploding
Mhm.
right there. That combination of mango and passion fruit with with the seafood and the herbs. I can just imagine. And I'm thinking there should probably be some event in Grenada where you come and do that dish, and we have a tasting, and with the Board of Tourism. I'm thinking all kinds of things here because it just sounds so good.
I would love that. And the board of the Grenada Tourism Authority, they were very supportive of this event too. They had their hand in it. So the
Wow.
Embassy of Grenada, the Grenada Board of Tourism, they work collaboratively to support and promote this activity.
And how were you chosen? Was it a team of Grenadians and you led the team, or was it just individually?
The embassy ambassador, His Excellency Francis, he reached out and he asked if I would consider it. And I said, Ambassador, I have to think about that because I knew there was an enormous time commitment to do this. And, I have a lot of professional things going on. I said, I have to think about it. And a week later, Mrs. Francis, his lovely wife, reached out and she said, Dr. Samuel, have you thought about it? And with that little nudge, I said, okay, I'll do it, but this is what I'll need. And I can say that the embassy provided me and my team with everything that we needed to be able to successfully do this event. And I didn't do this by myself. We had the embassy, we had the Grenada Tourism Authority, and I had an excellent team. In fact, that team, I was charged last fall to plan the visit of the events surrounding the visit of the Prime Minister. And this is the same team I worked with then. So we understood each other well. And it just worked so well working with them. I couldn't have done this. We couldn't have done this without that team.
Mm.
I had to step away on two occasions. One, to do a media interview during all of this competition that I didn't know of until 20 minutes prior. And then I was invited to a podcast, having to step away from my station again to go on stage to do this podcast. And there was no doubt in my mind that everything would continue to proceed. So I had
And
an awesome team, and I have to give them credit. And the Embassy of Grenada, they really showed out and showed up for me and provided the support that I needed.
and you delivered.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I have said the name Grenada an uncountable number of times. I have heard it said an uncountable number of times. But when I heard Grenada that night, it was almost spiritual, because I knew I wasn't representing myself. I was representing everyone in St. David's. I was representing everyone in Bellevue, St. David's. I was representing the whole of Grenada. And the pride I felt to walk up and accept this award on behalf of my people, words cannot capture what I truly felt.
Because it was truly a huge stage in terms of the participants. You had the Philippines was there. We know about their culinary position. The Saudis were there as well, I think.
Yes,
The
China,
Chinese were the
India,
Chinese there as well, I think.
Morocco.
So these are some real foodie places, and we stood tall, shoulder to shoulder.
And what we achieved is notable because we went up against classically trained chefs. Some of these embassies have their in house chef full time, and we competed against them. These are
Oh.
restaurant owners and actual embassy chefs that we competed against. So it's really a big deal.
So it was a David and Goliath story as well in the mix there.
I'm going to say I've seen grown men cry because they did not win or they were beaten by someone who was is not classically trained, but it's about understanding ingredients, it's about understanding the guest, and it's about understanding the visuals and telling a story with food. It was beyond just a strong recipe.
So you were a storyteller there with flavors and textures.
I was on stage, and people don't know this, but I'm an introvert. I am not a front stage kind of person, but I know how to, perform if I have to and step up. But I think we did well as a team. Every team member pulled, their weight, did their part, and I cannot sing the praises of His Excellency Francis and the Embassy of Grenada enough. Even Christine from the Grenada Tourism Authority, she called me the night before and right before the event to wish me, to offer best wishes.
Kristen Hosworth.
Yes, she's delightful to work with.
Oh, she's very dedicated to the tourism cause as well. Very
Mhm,
dedicated. Yes.
mhm.
Now, Dr. Samuel, I want to take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the role of competitions like these in building Grenada's global culinary reputation. You went up against some big ones, and like you said, made a couple of people cry as well. And also to talk about some of the insights on what Grenada might refine to vie for honors in the judges' choice category next year. This is
Okay.
the narrative on with Dr. MICHAELE Samuel, a culinary expert and also winner of the, well, not a trained chef, as you were just saying, but certainly I consider her to be an expert in the field of culinary arts. And we'll be right back with the interview talking about her third place finish in the People's Choice category in the Embassy Chef competition in Washington, D.C. Be right back.